We are now going into our next segment today, which is story time. We're not always going to have a story time, but today we are. And essentially, we're going to share like different things. Today's a little bit of like a historical context sort of thing mixed with a little bit of folklore. I'm very interested in history. I'm studying anthropology right now. So this is one that I thought was cool and I'd like to share. Many of you may be familiar with King Tut.
Yep.
Because his, I guess, tomb and mummy went on display. It was on exhibits in a bunch of museums when we were growing up, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
And probably before that. But you may not know about the story of the curse of his tomb. So just some context, he was a pharaoh. He became pharaoh around the age of like 8 or 9. And then he died at the age of like 18 or 19 or something like that.
That's a lot of power at a young age.
Isn't it? Can you imagine, like right now? Well, actually, he would already be dead at the age that we're at right now.
Right.
But imagine you like maybe like 5 years ago being at the height of power. You're a pharaoh in Egypt, one of the most powerful countries in the world at this time.
Yeah.
This was also a time when Egypt and the neighboring kingdom of Nubia, there was a lot of war going on in the land. So just keep that context in mind because they're not totally sure how he died. Before I hop into things, though, I do want to share a couple sources in case you want to dig a little deeper. So I referenced an article called Mummy Mystery King Tut, and it's from National Geographic. And then an article from the Washington Post called King Tut's Tomb was discovered 100 years ago and unleashed a curse by Dave Kindy.
Before you get into that.
Yeah.
Sources. We will definitely be citing our sources.
Yes. Okay, we're not just making up information here. We do our due diligence.
And you will be able to find it.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll share the links too if you want to go look at them. Also, ChatGPT is a good source always. But you have to ask ChatGPT for the sources.
Really?
That's a thing because sometimes they just be making stuff up.
You know what's funny before you get into it? When because it's AI.
Yes.
When they first started bringing AI, I was like, what did Allen Iverson do? I feel that's what everyone said.
You got to chill.
Okay.
Not Allen
You go
Iverson.
ahead. You go ahead. I'm doing too much.
No, it's okay. I like it. Okay, so King Tut, let's go back to him. Right. I shared a little bit of background. It's Egypt. Around 1332 BC, at the age of 8 or 9, he becomes king. He dies around the age of 18. Now let's cut to 1922 when his tomb was discovered. So a British archaeologist named Howard Carter uncovered King Tut's tomb in Egypt in the Valley of Kings, which is in Luxor. Mm-hmm. And they found a crypt beneath the Egyptian desert by accident. He was like banging on some wall or something and it busted open. And they were like, oh, wow, what can you see? And he was like, wonderful things. Wonderful
Hey,
things.
look, what do you mean by that?
No, literally. I was like, what? When I was reading this, but that's what he said, I guess. And context. So if you think about these tombs, it's not a coffin. Like these are large spaces,
right.
Big rooms. There's the coffin, there's treasures, like there's multiple rooms in these things. They're not small.
And I'm assuming they have security and everything.
I think so. Like, well, wait, who? King Tut or like
the where the good things are.
The discovering people?
Yeah.
No one knew about it yet.
Oh,
they just discovered it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm tripping.
There's nothing. This is the middle of the desert, and they're just digging.
Okay.
Because they're archaeologists. Then he's like, okay, I'm seeing magnificent things, wonderful things. And then he opens it up in the tomb in one of the rooms. There's a coffin. The coffin opened to reveal another coffin. And inside of the second coffin was a third coffin.
But wait, there's more.
Yes, and this third coffin was made of gold. And so inside was Tut's mummified body, and it's untouched for like 3,000 years, apparently.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Imagine being buried in a gold. Because, there's always a thing buried in gold, right?
Yes.
Bury me in gold.
Right.
A gold coffin?
Money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
He's 18 or 19.
Big king.
Yeah, big king. Big King Tut. So there's the golden coffin, and then other context is like, so the coffin was covered by 4 overlapping box-like shrines. Mm-hmm. So lots of money, lots of treasures, all these things. Of course, they damaged the body when they try to take it out.
Of course, it's been there forever.
Yes, but also, why are you trying to remove this mummy from its coffin? This is a person, okay? Like, why are you trying to disturb their grave? So there's like oils or something on it, and they don't destroy it, but they mess it up.
Do you think the oils is to like preserve the body? I'm guessing.
I think so. I assume it was like a part of some ritual as well.
Yeah.
But they were trying to like remove it from the coffin, which is still like bonkers to me.
Right.
And they start like breaking stuff. And so you can't we can't fully determine his cause of death because they ruined it. But initially people suspected he'd been murdered or poisoned or something like that. But with like 3D scanning now, they're able to see that he had a broken leg. And so some people suspect like he fell off a chariot and broke his leg and then died of infection or something. But then this is like a very sidebar thing.
Yeah.
So apparently his father, like the former pharaoh, was the former pharaoh, and his mother was the former pharaoh's sister, which they found from like DNA evidence or something. So they think that like incestual practices might have given him some like genetic deficiencies or something, because he had a club foot, they were able to find out too.
Really?
Yeah, so they're like, maybe he just was like sick and not well because of incest, and then he died at an early age.
Is there any context, or you probably, I'm not sure if you know, in terms of like them caring for him during this time? Or
No, like I didn't find anything on that. I can dig some more because it was interesting, but there's a lot of speculation on how he died and why he died, and we don't know because they did whatever they did to the body when they like were pulling it out.
Exactly.
So,
and we only know what they've shared.
Exactly. We don't even know if they've shared everything that they actually know.
Right.
So it's all speculation at this point. So cut to the curse. So we're back to 1922. The group associated with his discovery, they were funded by somebody named Lord Carnarvon. And he was one of the financial backers. Basically, so what I'm about to share are a bunch of deaths and like weird misfortunes that came about after they discovered the tomb. And people, a lot of the media like spun it as like, there's a curse, like the Egyptians, ancient Africa, like there's a curse because they're killing us. So the guy who funded it, what did I say his name? Oh, Lord Carnarvon. He was the financial backer of the expedition, and he died shortly after the tomb's opening, reportedly from an infected mosquito bite. So he was around at some point. Like he came to see the tomb once they discovered it, and I guess he got bitten, and then he died from that mosquito bite. Then there was somebody named Arthur Mace. He was a member of Carter. Carter was the archaeologist who discovered it.
Okay.
He was a member of Carter's team, and he died in 1928. So the tomb was discovered in 1929, but they're still associating it with that because they're like, oh, they were around that site for a couple years before they discovered the tomb. So this is also a part of the curse. His death was attributed to various different health issues, so undetermined. Richard Bethel, he's Carter, the archaeologist's secretary. He was found dead in his apartment later that year in 1929 under mysterious circumstances.
Okay, before you continue more of this, because this is getting morbid.
Yeah. There's a few of these.
If I was a part of the team, I'd be getting all my affairs in order.
Right.
This isn't just like a mystery, y'all.
Like it's connected.
Yeah.
There's multiple deaths and misfortunes.
Yeah.
That all happened around the time that the tomb was discovered.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna get in the gym. Okay, I'm joining a run club.
This is after you discovered, or after you discovered the first person's died?
Okay.
What point are you?
I'm talking about after the person died. Yeah.
Okay, you're like, oh, let me figure this out.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's more. Okay, so the person who was found like in his apartment under mysterious circumstances, they suspect foul play, but his death was ruled like to natural causes or whatever.
Okay.
But again, they connect this to the curse. George Howard was an associate of Carter, the archaeologist, and he died shortly after the tomb's opening, reportedly due to fever. But the exact cause of his illness remains unclear. And then a number of workers who were on the site also died, but they say this could be due to factors like environmental conditions, mold, lack of medical care, things like that. So, in conclusion, I'm just curious, like, do you think there was actually a curse associated with this? Because we know, like, if you look at historical context of like tombs and ancient sites, like sometimes there are booby traps that are set because they don't want people to discover these treasures and things like that. Or do you think there's like actually some sort of mythical or spiritual reason that these people are dying after discovering the tomb?
I feel like there is a like spiritual element to this.
Okay.
I don't know what the practices were during that time.
Yeah.
Previous to King Tut's life. However, there is an element of the spirits out there in this world.
Right.
And I've never experienced it. I've never encountered it.
Yeah.
Nor I will. However, for the case of like anyone who engaged and disrupted, you know, like the preserved
his peace, the afterlife.
Yes, there might have been something put in place by like whoever were part of his chamber or like
the rituals when they were putting his body to rest.
Yeah, and I don't know what the equivalent is to like a shaman or whatever, but like maybe someone who like in the case of King Tut's death, anyone who disturbs his body will face these results. Yeah, for me also, I think to myself, this will happen when you disturb a black man's sleep.
Okay.
Okay.
There's going to be hell to pay.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I was just gonna say they didn't find anything in the hieroglyphics that said like there's a curse or this is just the media turned it into a thing. And so I was curious. I think there might be some spiritual element. I think also like there was just a lack of medical care and people don't know what they were digging into and like maybe fumes or things like that. I also, this is super sidebar, but when I was looking up whether or not there were traps set, the term booby trap came up. And I was like, what is a booby trap? Because I think we all know that term, but where did it come from? Yeah. So I'm just going to share because I was curious.
Okay.
So the term booby trap is thought to derive from the word booby, which historically referred to a foolish or naive person. The idea is that such traps are designed to catch an unsuspecting or gullible person. So a booby is a not smart person.
See, I think I knew the term booby, but the term together with booby trap is new to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you have it, folks. You know what a booby trap is. You know what happened after King Tut was discovered. And personally, I just think, I'm not going to say they deserved it.
Yeah.
But like, why are you going to somebody else's country and digging up artifacts and bodies and then taking those on display to other countries and making money and not giving it back to the country that you discovered the things in?
That sounds like pretty common and consistent behaviors.
Yeah, it's something we've seen many times throughout history.
Facts.
Anyway.
The last thing I'm going to say on that topic, is just because you touched on it, is that I do think that like there maybe could have been just like a medical or health element to it, just because like during that time, I think we've kind of seen it from eras and decades and centuries that health and medical care has gotten progressively better over time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the data looks like. I don't know what the historical context is of like what medical care or just like what is the average human's health status during that time period. But I feel like that's an element.
That's interesting. I want to look it up.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
I feel informed, educated, and entertained.
Yes. Love.
There we go.
Okay. Cool.